Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. We are doing another cloud video, and in the last cloud video we made all of these ones behind me, and they were super fun to make and you guys seem to really like it. So I decided to make some more, but I wanted to experiment with a little bit of colours. So in between the last cloud video and this cloud video, I worked with another YouTuber called Featherfetcher, and I was teaching him how to make some clouds, and he was wanting to do some colourful, kind of sunsetty ones. And it really inspired me to try and do some more colourful ones because, I don't know, it was a lot of fun and I thought it would be an interesting challenge. So that's what we're going to do today. So I've got a couple of colourful ones in mind and I'm very excited to show you how they go. So let's get into it. So the first cloud design we have here is supposed to be like a sunsetty cloud. So I've got this like background which is supposed to be a bit of a sunsetty sky, like it's the closest I could really get, because I didn't want to make it an orange background because that wouldn't really make sense, but a blue background is a bit too light. So this beigey kind of slightly orangey cool toned background is the closest I could get. Now, I had to use a lot of different blocks to get these colours right, and as you can see, it's kind of complicated. So I had to use these shulker boxes for a purpley shadow because they were honestly the closest purple that I could get without it being too bright or too orangey. So they worked really, really well. Now I've also had to use some of the cherry wood because they were the most pastel pink that we've got, because there's not actually a lot of pink blocks or purple blocks, so this cloud was very difficult because of that. I made the main base of the cloud out of white terracotta and I surrounded most of it by the white stained glass. And again, I've got the borderless glass on just because it kind of blends the colours a lot more. I love the shadowing that I've done with this. So I've got some blue terracotta and some light blue terracotta to kind of give it a bit more fluff and show where the bottom of the cloud is. I also lined the bottom of the cloud with some grey stained glass just to keep with that darker theme down the bottom as well. It's always important to make sure it's surrounded by glass whenever you make a cloud, just because it kind of blends into the background a bit more, it like fades in. And it's also good to just add some little bits that come out the side. So just by adding like a little bit of a tail to the side here, it helps it kind of give it a bit more depth, and I think that looks really cool. I also had to add some quite bright white blocks just to give it a bit more of a highlight, but it's still very hard to kind of make this cloud work. But I think I did a good job in the end. Now, in the last cloud video I explained what all the different types of clouds were. This cloud specifically would be a cumulus cloud, which means pile, but of course it's in the sunsetty type of time, so we've had to play with a bunch of the colours just to incorporate that. So yeah, I think this one went very well. It is a little bit of a tall cloud, but it's very difficult because clouds in real life are actually quite tall, but when you try and incorporate that into Minecraft, it doesn't really fit. But I do like the way it looks overall, and I hope you guys do too. Let's move on to the next one. next cloud we have over here is supposed to be a lightning cloud, and I'm really happy with how this looks. It definitely looks better from a distance just because you don't get as harsh of those blocky outlines of the frog lights in the middle when you look from afar, and it gives that lightning effect because of the purple. Now, the purple glow in the middle of it was really difficult to make because Minecraft doesn't have coloured lighting, so it's very difficult, but I think I did quite well. I put some of the pearlescent frog lights just in kind of where the lightning would be in this storm cloud, and then I surrounded it by a bunch of amethyst and some purple glass just to go over, which I think looks really, really cool. The purple glass was something as well I had to kind of span outwards just a little bit to kind of give it that electricity feel. It feels so much more of a natural lightning, and I really like it. I've also got these little streaks of like a lighter, I'm not sure what terracotta is, I think it's pink, purple terracotta, and that is also just to kind of show the lighting of, I guess, where the sun would be and also where the lightning would go in the cloud when there's like the little curves. But I think it looks really cool. The main cloud, of course, is built out of blue terracotta just because that's like a very stormy cloud colour, which I think looks really cool. And I surrounded it by a bunch of grey stained glass, and that was also kind of to put it in the background, which I've gone for black terracotta because when I looked at a bunch of the storm clouds like online when I was looking for inspiration pictures, because the clouds are so blue, it makes the sky look a lot more orange in the background, but also just with the sun, if it's like a dusky type storm, it gives that brownish effect for the sky even more. So I think this background worked really well, and I'm very happy with this cloud. So the whole cloud is kind of like a weird cubey shape, I guess, but I've added a little bit of wisps out the side just to, as I said with the other one, it gives it a little bit more of a natural kind of form when you're making clouds. And I think this cloud would look even better if it was like much bigger and on the horizon. If you scaled this up quite a lot, it would look very menacing, and I do really love the design of this cloud. Like the storm cloud looks so cool. I'm very happy with it and hope you guys like it as well. So let's move on to the last one. The last cloud I've got here is a bit of a smaller one compared to the other two and a bit less colour. I wanted to add one kind of simpler cloud in this whole area because I've got two very complicated ones and I wanted a simpler one, and I wanted to make a bit of a rain cloud. So this cloud is just a small little cloud all made out of grey toned blocks in grey toned glass, and then I've added a bunch of rain with some white stained glass. The background is also very different to this because I did this blue background to kind of mimic a clear day but with big clouds around, and this one I wanted to make kind of a dark stormy day, and the best way I could do it was with a bunch of cyan concrete, which I think works very well. Now because of this background I've had to change the raindrops to white stained glass because before they were light grey stained glass, but it blended too much into the cyan concrete in the background. But the white stained glass I think works quite well. I've put a bunch of shadowing with a bunch of darker grey blocks, including some terracotta because it's got a bit of blue in there, so it brings that bluey cyany colour from the sky into the cloud. It also just shows that there's some moisture in it. I used cobbled deep slate otherwise just to give the shading on the fluffy bits of the cloud, and I made the main base out of light grey wool and then also some dead coral blocks, but I think you could use stone as well, just the same. But I think the coral blocks they've got slightly lighter areas that kind of give it a little bit more of a highlight or fluffy texture around the whole cloud, which I think looks quite cool. But I really love this little storm cloud. It is very small, but I think there's a lot that you could do with it, and I think overall it just looks quite fun. Like imagine a bunch of these little storm clouds around an area kind of bringing a whole like atmosphere together. I think it gives that dark and dreary idea. So yes, we built 3 clouds in this video, and I'm happy with each of them. They're all very different. We've got a sunsetty type cozy cloud, we've got a very scary, menacing lightning cloud, and then of course we've got a little bit of a rain cloud. All of them were really fun to build, and I highly recommend anyone that wants to try it to just give building clouds a go. The main thing that you have to do is literally just place blocks in a random order and then put the colors in afterwards. That's the easiest way to do it, and it looks really good, and I think it's a very cool addition to anyone's build, especially if you're trying to build like a bit of a picture. You know, you wanna have your base viewed from a certain angle, or you're building some organics that need some clouds around. I think these are perfect. And again, they were really fun to build, so I highly recommend it. But with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed the videos, I hope you enjoyed the clouds. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Do you want to see more cloud content? I'm happy to. I always love building some clouds. If so, what kind of clouds do you want to see? And let me know what you think of the ones that we got done in this video. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!